Good evening, everyone. I'm back, and today we're going to be doing the 2022 O-Level E-Math Paper 2. So I went through Paper 1 yesterday, and I found that it was a little bit, there were some tricky questions, but there were also some that were easy. And the arrangement of the questions is a bit weird. And I had a look at this paper, and it seems to be a bit more difficult than Paper 1. So let's go through. So the first question is, as usual, the algebraic manipulation. So solve this equation. I think this is no issue for most of you. Multiply both sides by 21 to get 3x, to get 3x plus 7 times x minus 5 equals to 21. You'll get 10x minus 35 is 21. So you will get x is 56 over 10, which is 28 over 5, or 5.6. Part B, simplify the following expression. Okay, so if you want, you can write this as 6a cubed b divided by 5 times 10b divided by 3a squared. This and that cancel. This and that cancel, you get 2 here. And this and that cancel also. You will get 2 here also. And you will just get 4ab squared. Okay. Solve this equation by completing the square. Give the answers correct to 2 decimal places. Okay. So how do you complete the square for this? So you get the 9 here. So you need to write x plus 9 over 2 square, right? Then minus 9 over 2 square plus 16 equals to 0. Sorry, minus 16 equals to 0. Then we'll bring the constant over to the other side. So you'll get x plus 9 over 2 squared equals to, I think, 145 over 4. So you will get x equals to negative 9 plus minus the square root of 145 divided by 2, and you can find these solutions in 3SF. So x equals to either 1.52 or x equals to, if you take the minus, you will get some negative number, which is minus 10.5, right? And oh wait, this is 2 dp, sorry, 2 decimal places, 10.52, 1.52 minus 10.52, okay, 2 dp. Part D, simplify this expression. So if we look at the top, we can see that there's an 4x on both 4x squared and ax. So you will get this is equals to 4x, x minus 2a, right? Then if we do here, we get minus 3x and plus 6a. Notice that if I factor out the negative 3, I also get x plus 2a, x minus 2a, sorry. So I can do this and divide this by 3. This is actually x squared minus 4a squared if I factor out the 3. So what do we get now? I can factor this, 4x minus 3, x minus 2a, divide by 3. I can factor this using the difference of 2 squares. So I'll get x minus 2a times x plus 2a. And you'll notice that this and that cancel. So you'll get 4x minus 3 divided by 3 times x plus 2a. And that's it. You can expand the denominator if you want. You don't have to. Okay, so algebraic manipulation. Hopefully most of you didn't have an issue with the very first question. Question 2. Cheryl has some money to invest for 5 years. So account A has 1% per year simple interest. The other account has 1% compound interest. Explain why account B is the better choice. Okay, this sounds a bit... I know this sounds like they're insulting your intelligence, but seriously, they do actually want to know whether you understand the context. Well, it's because compound interest generates more interest over time than simple interest. It sounds like a very weird or trivial thing to ask, but it's actually a thing. Marcus invests in the account 1%, 1.8% per year, simple interest. Leave the money in the account for 6 years. What is the amount that Marcus invested? Okay, so we know that the formula for simple interest is PRT divided by 100. In this case, your R is 1.8, your T is 6, so you will get oh wait, this is the interest that you get, right? So this is the interest, and this is how much is your total amount. So you get P1 plus 1.8 times 6 is 10.8 divided by 100 is 1385. Then you can solve for P, which I think is 1250. Normally when you invest something, the principal is a nice number, so if you don't get a nice number, then you probably did something wrong. $1,250. Tan invests in an account that pays 1.2% compound interest, leaves the money for 4 years. At the end of 4 years, there's 4719.92. What is the total amount of interest? Alright, interest. So always read the question for financial carefully. So the total amount, we are actually given this formula, total amount is P1 plus R over 100, N, okay? And in this case, R is 1.2 and N is 4, okay? And we get this is 4719.92. So we can solve for the principal. Which is once again, you'll get a very nice number, 4500.00 dp. Alright. The interest is the final minus the principal, so it's just 219.92. Okay. Helen hires the car during the business trip in France. She drives a total 745 km. The car uses fuel at an average rate of 5.8 liters per 100 km. Okay. So she also pays 134.50 euros for car hire and 152 euro per liter of fuel. If she pays using the credit card, charge a fee of 1.5% for the conversion. The exchange rate between Singapore dollars and euros is 1 Singapore dollar is 0.66 euros. Calculate the total amount, including credit card fee. Helen is charged for car hire and fuel. Okay. So for this, I think the first thing we should do is calculate the fuel used. It will be 745 divided by 100 times 5.8, which is 43.21 liters. Price in euro, which is 134.5 plus 1.52 times 43.21. Okay. Which is 200.1792, and there's no reason we can't leave it like this first. We can actually convert to 2dp at the end. We convert to SGD. The price in Singapore dollar now, the price in Singapore dollar is this thing in euros, 1792 divided by 0.66 times 101.5 divided by 100. This is how you add the 1.5% interest rate. And you give your answer in Singapore dollars correct to the nearest cent. So you'll get 307.85 to the nearest cent. Okay. Question 3, cumulative frequency graph. Okay. So we have the age distributions of the resident populations of Singapore and the UK in 2019. Use the curve to estimate the median age for Singapore. So cumulative percentage here, so we don't actually need to do any counting. The percentage median age you estimate it at the 50th cumulative percentage, whatever it is. So the dotted line is the UK and the solid line is Singapore. So at 50%, you will see that our median age is supposedly, well, I can't draw, I'm not very good at drawing straight line, but supposedly it is here, 41. Okay. What is the percentage of the UK population age over 60? So we look for the 60 and we look at the UK. So that is over here. And that seems to be at the 76th percentile, which means that if they are over 60, we take 100% minus 76%, so 24%. Okay. The 80th percentile for Singapore. Okay, so we look again at the 80th percentage, and we find it's over here, and we find that it is 61 because it's over here. Okay, cool. In 2019, the resident population of Singapore was 4.03 million. The estimate of the number of people aged under 25. Okay, so under 25, so that is here. This is 25 is here. So if we go and look at Singapore, we are about here. Okay, so it was about 27. Okay. So it's 27% of 4.03. But this is in millions, so make sure you take note of that. You'll get 1.09 million 3SF. You actually get 1.0881 million, and you can write this out in numerals, and I think they will also accept it. Although 3SF is, when they say estimate, usually we can just leave it as 3SF. Yeah. Okay, because it's unlikely that the cumulative frequency graph is 100% accurate. You cannot just read off the graph anyway, because there's likely to be some slight fluctuation in the actual figure. So giving such a precise answer in context, actually it may not be the best. If we give a roughly correct answer, then well, it seems better. Okay. The range of ages for Singapore is the same as the range for the UK, so it seems to be 0 to 100. Make two more comparisons between the age distribution. Use figures to support the answer. Okay, so quite standard. We have done this before. So what could we possibly compare? Well, we noticed that the median age in the UK is 40 because 50th percentile is 40. So let's write that down. I should say average age actually. Average age is higher in SG than UK. We are comparing the median here of 41 versus 40. What is the second comparison we can make? If we've done a lot of things, another thing that we can usually do is use the interquartile range, right? And just by looking at the graph, you can kind of see that the interquartile range for Singapore will be bigger than the UK. Yeah. Or rather, it looks like it, but roots are deceiving. So let's see. So at the 25th percentile, which is here, the median age in Singapore is what? 23? Looks like 23. Okay. Oh wait, no. It's 24. 24, sorry. Very difficult to see sometimes. But I think it's 24. And for the UK, it is 23, 22. 21, actually. 21. What about the 75th percentile, which is here? Okay, Singapore and the UK. Okay, the UK is at 59, and Singapore is at 58. Seems to be. Okay. So IQR. So IQR for, okay, so 58, I will just circle the ones which are Singapore. So uh 24, 21. Okay, so Singapore is 24, and I think 59. Yes, ours is 59. No, wait, ours is 57, 58. UK is 59. Okay. SGIQR equals to 58 minus 24 equals to 34. UK IQR is 59 minus 21. Okay. So that is 38. Okay. SG population, more consistent age. That is the implication of IQR. Alright. Yeah. Complete the table of values. Okay, so this is the graph question. So this is minus 3.8 if you work it out. On the grid, draw this graph. Okay, I'm not going to draw this graph. I have it in decimals. Okay. The equation x, okay, this equation has two solutions. Use the graph to find the possible values of k. So you see that the expression is exactly the same, but we just have to equate this thing to k, right? So if I draw a vertical line, what actually happens? So let me tell you this. So let me set, like, maybe there's a slider function, okay? So you will see that if I vary k, of course it's going to move up and down, right? So how do I estimate the two possible values of k? Well, I just estimate. So if you were to use your ruler on the graph paper, you would probably get your estimates as 3.4 and minus 1.4. Okay? By drawing a suitable straight line on the grid, solve the following equation. Okay, let's see how do we get there. So we start with, so we first need to reduce the equation to a form that we can kind of compare with the first one. So we have y equals to x cubed minus, sorry, x cubed over 5 minus 2x plus 1. So let's say I do multiply by 5. 5y is, or 10 actually, let's multiply by 10 because I want a 2x cubed, right? 10y is 2x cubed minus 20x plus 10. Okay. 10y plus, now if I subtract 5x on both sides and I add 10 on both sides, I'll get 2x cubed minus 25x plus 20. And I can let this be 0 so that I get 2y minus x plus 2 equals to 0. And therefore, y is x minus 2 divided by 2. Okay? So x over 2 minus 1, actually. And so the possible values that you will get are, you will probably read them to one decimal place. So minus 3.9, 0.85, and 3.05. I think those are the values that you'll be reading off. Yes. not this one, this one. So you'll get x equals to minus 3.90, or x equals to 0.85, or x equals to I think, what was it, 3 point something, minus 3.8, minus 3.90, 0.85, 3.05. Okay, so those are your three possible solutions. Of course, depending on how exactly you drew the graph on the actual question, you might get a slightly different answer. Okay, question 5, part A. So this is a solid in the shape of a half cylinder, diameter 7, height is 16. What is the volume? Okay, so the volume is half of a cylinder, so half times pi r square h. In this case, the diameter is 7/2, or radius rather, and 16. Okay. And this will just be 308 to 3SF. Okay. Calculate the total surface area of the solid. Okay, so we have the rectangle, the round part, and the two semicircles, but the two semicircles actually make up the whole circle. So you will get pi r squared. So pi 7/2 squared plus, now we're going to consider the half of the circumference, so you get half 2 pi rh. You are actually given pi d, so you can use pi dh, but then you can have the half here, so you get 7 pi and 16, and then finally add the rectangle, which is 16 times 7. And you will get 326 to 3SF. Part B, we have similar cones A, B, and C. The ratio of volume of A, B, C is 1 to 3 to 8. What is the ratio height of cone A to C? Well, you are comparing one dimension instead of 3 now, so it's just the cube root of 1 to the cube root of 8, which is 1:2. Find the surface area of cone B as a percentage of the surface area of cone C. So surface area is in 2 dimensions, so you need to raise the power to 2 to the power of 3. So it will be 3/8 to the power of 2/3 times 100%. Which is 52.0%. 3SF. Yep. Question 6, geometry. Diagram shows two circles to touch at C. A, B, and C are points on the smaller circle, center O. C, D, E, F are on the larger circle, center P. They are all straight lines. Angle CPF is 96 degrees. What is angle DEP? Okay, so there's a few ways you can go about it. First of all, this is also going to be 96, and then these two are equal because radii. So 180 degrees minus 96 degrees equals to 84 degrees. So you can actually divide this by 2 if you want to take a shortcut. Yeah, it's 42 degrees. You can write down the statement if you want. The question did not specify to write down a statement, so I don't think you need to write down the statement, but of course it is good to know the reason. It's 96 degrees because of vertically opposite angle, and then you have alternatively, sum of two exterior angles is alternatively, you have base angle of isosceles triangle, so you divide by 2, and it's the isosceles because PD, PE radii of the circle. So good to know your reasons, but I think it's not necessary to state them because the question did not ask for it. On the other hand, part B asks you to give reasons for the statements you make to show that triangle ABC and FCD are similar. So we will go through that. So I'm going to actually show you that so these two are right angles. right? Actually, no, it's FCD that we're concerned about. So these two are right angles because right angle in a semicircle. And we also need to show you, I'm going to say this angle and this angle are the same, but this angle is also the same. So let me just write this using the same kind of thing. Okay. And yeah, that's what we're going to prove. Don't worry, because I will go through it. So we have ABC and FCD are right angles. Because of right angle in a semicircle. Okay. So now we have angle ACB equals to angle DCE, or DCP also can, because of vertically opposite angles. But this is also equals to angle, the angle that I highlighted here, because you see PC and PD are radii of the circle. So it is actually going to be FDC, right? Okay. Base angles of isosceles triangle, and the fact that what are the two sides equal here? PC equals PD. Due to radii of circle. Okay, so therefore, by AA similarity, the two triangles are similar. Okay. Now, DE is 7.21, DF is 9.7. BD is 9.1, and calculate AB. Okay, we're already given CPF. BD is 9.10. Okay, so this here is, oops, 9.1. Okay, we need to find this length. Okay, so of course we need to, you might have noticed that we may need to use the fact that they are similar triangles. But the first thing I'm going to actually tell you is that this is also a right angle, right? Because right angle and semicircle again, and therefore these are parallel lines, and therefore this is 7.21 cm also. Okay, because you will have a what you're going to basically have is a, actually how can I explain to you that the two lines are equal in length? Because they are, well, right angles, so it's rectangle. Okay, I think I will use that. Okay, so we have angle CDE. Is it CDE? Yes, CDE is 90 degrees, which is angles to DCF. No need to really write down the reason, but we should. Okay, so therefore we have CDEF is a rectangle. And therefore CF is 7.21. Okay, now how do we find AB? So by similar triangles, we're going to consider the fact that ABC and FCD are similar triangles. So that would be this triangle and this triangle. Okay, so we're going to consider AB divided by, we have 9.1 as the total length of these two sides. So we can actually use Pythagoras to find CD. CD is the square root of 9.7 square minus 7.21 square by Pythagoras. Oops. which is 6.4889. So therefore, AB divided by BC is equals to CD divided by CF. Okay. By similar triangles, AB over BC equals to CD over CF. Yes. Okay. So AB is BC times CD, which is BC is BD minus CD. So 9.1 minus 6 point, okay, well that's going to be a bit long to write here. AB is 9.1 minus 6.4889 times 6.4889 again. Then divide by CF, which is 7.21. Okay. Which you will get is okay, I'm getting not the correct answer. What did I do? Oops. Strange. CF over CD. Yeah. Okay. So one has AB. So we plug in the values now. CF is 7.21, right? And then BC is BD minus CD, so 9.1 minus 6.4889 divide by CD itself, which is 6. Or BD CD, yes, 6.4889. Okay. You will get 2.90 to 3SF. Let's write 2.9013. Okay, 2.90. Okay. Calculate the length of the minor arc AB. So the minor arc will be this one. So how do you calculate that? Well, what is the angle AOB? It's just going to be 96 degrees, by the way, because again, there's similar triangles. Similar triangles tells you that this and this are the same angle. And again, OA is OB, so AOB can be deduced to be angle 96. Okay. If you want the full explanation, it's because OAB equals to angle OBA equals to 42 degrees, because specifically because angle OAB equals to CAB is DFC. Yes. Okay, so that is the reason. So the minor arc, therefore you will get, to get the length of the minor arc, you will take the radius of the smaller circle. The radius of this circle is, well, there's a few ways you can get the radius. One of the way is to use Pythagoras again. So I use BC square. I find BC, AB plus BC. Okay. Radius equals to half times the square root of AB square plus BC square. And this is, remember that BC is the 9.1 minus 6.4889 thing. And if you solve for this, you will get 1.9516 to 5SF. So therefore, minor arc is this thing times theta, where theta is in radians, but we have degrees, so we need to convert to radians. 96 degrees divided by 180 degrees times pi. Okay. And you'll get 3.27. 3SF. Right, there's a variety of ways that you can derive it. Question 7. The diagram shows this cuboid. AB is 24, BC is 13, and AE is 8. X is a point in EF such that EX to XF is 3:5. Okay, so this is, so you can actually figure out what these lengths are. 24, 3 plus 5 is 8, but 24 is divisible by 8. So in fact, you can find that this is 9, 15. Alright, so we'll get to that later. So we need to find EX. This is 3 over 3 plus 5 of 24, which is 9. So area will be half times the sum of parallel sides, so 9 plus 24, 10 times the height. So you'll get 33 times 4, which is 132 cm squared. Calculate xg. Okay, xg is, you need to use Pythagoras, so square root of 15 square plus 13 square. Is it? Yeah. So it's just square root of 13 square plus 15 square. Which is 19.8. Okay, so far so good. Part C. A pyramid is cut from the cuboid. The base of the pyramid is BGX. Okay, calculate the area of triangle BGX. Okay, I think what would have been interesting is if they also ask you to find the volume or the angles in the pyramid. That will also be interesting. But they just want you to find the area of BGX here. So how do we do it? Well, let's remember that this is 9. Okay, so if I redraw the boundaries again, I already have GX. And for that matter, let's write the 5SF version for this, which is 19.849. Okay. And how do I find the area of BGX? Well, I'm going to need to find the 3 sides, and then I can actually apply a cosine rule to find one of the angles. Once I find the angle, I can apply a sine rule. Okay, so this is 15. So one of the Pythagoras triples that's quite famous is 8 square plus 15 square is 17 square. So in fact, BX is exactly 17. Unfortunately, 13 square plus 8 square is not a perfect square. So for BG, if you use Pythagoras theorem again, which I think you guys are used to by now, you will get 15.264. Okay, so note that this is the square root of 8 square plus 13 square. Okay, so now we have the three sides, and we're going to solve for angle. Let's solve for angle XBG, although you can generalize this result for any of the three ways. So we have cosine angle XBG. How do you get this? Well, we know that 19.849 square is 17 square plus 15.264 square minus 2 times those two sides, cosine of that. So if I want to isolate this, I need to get the sum of these two squares. So 17 square plus 15.264 square minus 19.849 square divide by 2 times of these measurements. Okay. And what is this equals to? Oops. You'll get 0.24665. So the area is going to be, because XBG is an acute angle, so let me just write a note here. Because angle XBG is acute, and the reason why we know this is because cosine of it is positive. If it were an obtuse angle, then the cosine will be negative. Okay, so the area is just the sine of the inverse cosine of 17 times the 15.264 times half. So we get half times the sum of the, or rather not sum, but product of the two parallel, not parallel, but adjacent sides, 17, 15.264, sine cosine inverse 0.24665. Okay, and then you can go ahead and find the answer. And you will get 126 trace F. Wow, 5 marks. Okay. So it's a little bit cumbersome, but once you realize that you can just use Pythagoras for everything as well as cosine rule, it becomes more manageable. 8a, we have a vectors here. Calculate the length of PQ. Okay, so what is PQ exactly? Well, PQ is 5 and 6, right? So we just find the magnitude of this vector, which is the square root of 5 square plus 6 square. And I think this is no issue. This is 7.81 trace F. Find the coordinates of point R. So I translate 8 units along the X for P and minus 2 for the Y, and I will get 5 and 3. Find the equation of the line QR. Okay, so there's no form that they give you for this. They do not specify a form of the line to give you. I think the tuition center that give me the answer for this uses the slope-intercept form, but I'm just going to give the standard form, or rather the one that uses integer form. Okay, so gradient of PQ, or gradient of QR rather, it is 11 minus 3 divided by 5 minus, I think, what? No, not 5, sorry. It's 2 minus 5, which is just negative 8 over 3. So the equation, my favorite formula for equation of a line is always the y minus y1 equals to mx minus x1. So y minus 11 is negative 8 over 3, x minus 2. Okay? And we'll simplify. So if I multiply throughout by 3, I get 3y minus 33 equals to minus 8x plus 16. So you get the integer form of 8x plus 3y equals to 49. And this is my answer, but any equivalent form of this will be acceptable. If you wrote it in slope-intercept form, that is also acceptable. Okay? Part B, we have this triangle. A is a point of OC, B is a point of OD. Okay, position vectors. OA is a third of OC, and OB to BD is 3:2. X is a point on OC, so that BX is parallel to DC. Okay, find XD as a vector in terms of A and B. Okay. So let's say I have a parallel line here and call this X. So this is 3 and this is 2. So therefore this is 2/3 of B. Okay, so we notice that if we can actually express CD in terms of A and B, then XB has to be a scalar multiple of that. But we notice that XB has a B component in it. Okay, so how do we find CD? CD is actually OD minus OC, right? But how do you find OC? Well, OA is 1/3 of OC, which means that OC is just 3A. So we have CD equals to OD minus OC, which is 5/3B minus 3A. Okay? So we have XB also, and we know that this is B minus KA equals to M 5/3B minus 3A, where K and M are real numbers to be determined. But of course, we notice that to be true, it must be the case that M is 3/5, and therefore K is 9/5. And finally, XD is XB plus BD. Okay, and we already know what BD is. It's in fact, it is 2/3 of B. So if you add these two up, you will get 5/3 B minus 9/5A. Okay. Yeah. Question 9. Ooh, sets. List the elements in A prime. Okay, so I hope you guys know what prime numbers are. So 1 is not a prime number, 4 is not a prime number, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 14. Stop here because the universal set is only 1 to 15. List the elements in A union B prime. Okay, so De Morgan's law tells you that this is A prime intersect B prime. So this simplifies your answer because you actually have A prime already. So you just need to find out what is in B prime. So what is not a factor of 30? So for example, 30 is actually, we have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15. Okay, do not count 30 because 30 is not within the universal set, which is 1 to 15. So we see that 2 and 3 are in fact in the factors. 5 is in there also. 7 is not, however. And 11 is also not. And 13 also. Okay. A number P is chosen at random from the set B union C. What is the probability that P is not an element of C? Okay, so what is B union C? So I have all these numbers and I have a multiple of 3. Okay, so C, what is this? So it's actually 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, right? And therefore, the set B union C is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 12, 15. Okay, so there are 9 elements, but only 5 of these are in C. So the probability is 4/9. Okay, because there will be a chance that you pick 4 out, any 4 of the elements that are in B but not in C. Okay. The table shows the languages studied by a group of 30 students. One of the students studies French is chosen at random. Find the probability they'll also study Spanish. Well, that is just I pick any student that studies French. So no, I pick a student that studies French and Spanish. 8 divided by the total number of studying French, which is 8 plus 7. So this is just 8 over 15. Okay. Two of the students who study Spanish are chosen at random. Find the probability that both students study Spanish but not French. Okay. So this probability will be 12 and not 12 is Spanish and not French, and therefore you have 12 divided by 30. Then you need to pick another one from the same category, which is 11 over 29. Okay, but 12 over 30 is 2 over 5, so in the simplest form, this is 22 over 145. And here what we are selecting is homogeneous, so therefore there is no need to add some counting argument or anything, it's just this. 3 students are chosen at random from the whole group. Find the probability that only one studies Spanish. So we need to pick one that doesn't study, or rather one that studies Spanish, and the other 2 don't. There are a total of 20 that study Spanish, so you have to pick 20. So, but take note that out of the 3, we actually need to choose one student that did study Spanish, the other 2 didn't. So it's 3 choose 1, which is actually just 3 lah. Okay. And then this is 20 over 30. Then we need to start multiplying those that did not study Spanish. So 10 over 29 times 9 over 28. Okay. And you can figure out what this is. So this is 6 over 28 times 10 over 28. This is, oops, did I do something wrong? Yeah. Oops. Oh, okay, no wonder. Yes, 1545 divided by 203. Okay. Yeah. It's a very weird number, but yes, this is the answer. I didn't know that you have to use the 3 choose 1 in eMath. It's quite a surprise to me. Okay, we come to the real world context. So we have a small business that makes jewelry. Workers are paid this basic hourly rate, and an additional commission for each item is made. This is the employment guideline provided for the worker. Total of 40 hours per week over 5 days. 18 days annual holiday paid. Basic hourly rate. Expected annual income at least 48,000. Okay. There's actually 2 interpretations of the question in the last part, and I will go over that when we get there. Abi makes 7 pairs of earrings in 1 hour. How long does it take to make 1 pair of earrings? Well, we can convert hours to seconds, so we get 60 times 60 divided by 7. And if you convert this to the nearest 10 seconds, you'll get 510. Okay. May makes bracelets. One day she worked for 9 hours and earns a total of 231.75. Show that she made average of 11 bracelets per hour. For this, we're going to consider the amount that she made from making the bracelets alone. Okay, so amount from bracelets is how much she earns minus the basic rate, which is 9.80 times 8. Okay. Which is I think I did something wrong. Oh, it's times 9. Okay. Sorry. 231.75 minus 9.8 times 9. You will get 143.55. bracelets made in total in 9 hours will be the total that she earned from making all of the bracelet divided by the amount she would earn from making one bracelet, which is 1.45. And in fact, this is exactly 99. So the average per hour is just 99 divided by 9, which is 11, which is what we wanted. She made an average of 11 bracelet per hour. In one day, a total of 132 necklaces made. Chen and Zhu make these necklaces. Zhu takes 80 seconds less than Chen to make each necklace. They each work for 8 hours a day. Can they expect to earn the advertised minimum annual income? Okay. Let me just take a brief breath. Because when I was doing this question, I was very surprised. Because there's actually a hidden quadratic equation in this question. For those of you who took this paper, if you manage to get to one of the answers I'm going to show you, then give yourself a pat on the back. It's not an easy question. And if you didn't get the answer, it's okay. Depending on what you did, if you can explain it correctly, you may get most of the marks as well. In fact, this is an 8-mark question, so I think you will get a lot of marks once you realize that there's a quadratic equation involved, because you need to find out how many Chen and Zhu actually make in the first place, right? So let's start the question by, let me just write down that there are 2 parts of this question. Number of necklace made by Chen and Zhu, and number 2, the salary. Okay, so let's answer part 1 first. So the thing about this is you need to understand that you need to split the question into 2 parts. Let t be the time in seconds. Now Chen is the one that takes longer to make it, so let's do for Chen to make one necklace. You can easily define this for Zhu as well. You will get another quadratic equation, but you should arrive at the same ultimate result for how many we make. So we will get, how many seconds are there in a day? In 8 hours rather. Well, it's 8 times 60 times 60, okay? Which is 28,800. So therefore the total number, so Chen makes 28,800 divided by T necklaces in 8 hours, and Zhu makes this divided by T minus 80. So therefore you have 28800, 1 over T plus 1 over T minus 80 equals to 132. Okay. It's very sneaky. You're actually forming a quadratic equation in this. So you get 2400. So 1 over A plus 1 over B is A plus B divided by AB. So 2T minus 80 divided by T times T minus 80. This is 11 if you simplify. So you will get 4800T minus, I think, 196000 equals to 11T square minus 880T. Okay, so you get 11T square minus 5680T plus 196000 equals to 0. So this is a quadratic equation. It's kind of like those quadratic equation contextual problems, but in this case they didn't even hint to you that you need to do it. You need to realize that this is the case, and I think I did something wrong, so let me think about this. Oh, it's 192, not 196. Okay, this is what happens when you do mental maths. Okay. Don't do mental math like me. and you will get a very nice answer. You will get that this factorizes to 11t minus 400. T minus 480 is 0. Okay? And therefore you get t equals to 400 over 11, or t equals to 480. But 2 makes 1 in t minus 80. Second, so t equals to 400 over 11 is rejected, because this is less than 80. Because 400 over 11 is clearly less than 400 over 5, which is 80. So if you took this value, then you would say that 2 makes one necklace in a negative time, which doesn't make sense. So t equals 480 must be it. So therefore, Chen makes 28800 divided by 480, and you will get 60, and Su is 72, because it must add up to 132. So now we need to consider the part where we actually calculate their salary. Unfortunately, I don't have enough space on that page, so I will use the first page of this question. So let's remind ourselves what we need to do. We are given that Chen makes 60 necklaces every day that he works, and Zhu makes 72. Okay? But now we are given that we have to work 40 hours per week over 5 days. So we will take it as average 8 hours per day, which is in fact what Chen and Zhu actually work. 18 days annual holiday paid at the basic hourly rate. Okay, there's something about this statement. And expected annual income, is it at least 48,000? That's what the question is asking. So the thing about this is, well, if we assume that those 5 days are weekdays, for example, you could generalize it, but most commonly we will assume that the 5 days of working is the weekday, right? So this annual holiday, can you take this leave on weekends? It's actually not made clear in the question, right? Depending on whether your answer to this is yes or no, you'll get different answers. But your conclusion should be the same. Let me show you. So when I did the question the first time, my assumption was no, because you are already not getting paid to work on you're already not working on weekend. So why would they give you a leave on a weekend? They will only give you for weekday, right? But if it does in fact apply to weekend, then you can actually get paid for those, plus the 260 days of the weekday. 260 weekdays they actually do work. How come 260? Because there are 52 weeks in a year. And therefore 260 weekdays. Okay? So what is this? So you will get a different answer depending on whether you choose yes or no. So let me describe. So let me calculate the amount that they would earn for. Okay, so basic salary. The basic salary, if it's yes, you will be working 260 days, plus you will get 18 days of work for not doing anything at all. So you get 278 times 9.8 times 8, because you get the 8-hour work shift, right? So if you choose this interpretation of the question, your basic salary is 21795.2. Then if you are Chen, you make 60 on 260 of those days. So you get 260 times 60 times 1.65. And if you're 260 times 72 times 1.65. Okay. This is 25740, and this is well, it's 6 over 5 times of this, it's 30888. Wow. Okay. So if you add the total together, Chen total and Su total. Okay, Chen's total will be I think I have the answers written down already actually. But you will get $47,535.20, and for Su you will get uh $52,683.20. Okay, so the conclusion is that Chen cannot expect to earn the advertised minimum income, and Su can. Okay, so therefore the answer is Chen yes, Chen no, and Su yes. Okay, so this is one interpretation of the question. The other interpretation is it does not apply on weekends. No. Okay, the basic salary now is you are going to only work 242 days of the week because you are taking 18 days of the paid leave. Okay, if your answer is no, then the basic salary is only 242 working days times 9.8 times 8. Okay, which is 18972.8. Okay, sorry, no, your basic salary is 260. You still get 260 days worth of working, even though you're only working 242 days. What changes is that your 260 here becomes 242. So this is 21952. Okay, so you get this basic salary, which is a bit more than not this. It's 20384. Okay, so this is your basic salary. Now Chen's salary that you make from the necklace. Now you're working 242 days of the week, so 242 times 60 times 1.65. Okay. Which is 23958. And for 2 is this thing again, about times 72. You will get 28749.6. Okay, so Chen total in this case is 44342 dollars exactly. The two total will be 49133. Yes, 0.6. 49133.60. Okay, and once again, this is Zhu's total here is more than 48,000, Chen's is less than, so again you get the same conclusion. So no matter which method you use, you will get the conclusion that Chen cannot expect to make the correct salary, but Zhu can, which means that Chen should probably go for service training and make necklace faster. But besides that, it's very interesting that if you interpret the question in two different ways, you'll get different answers, but the conclusion will be the same. So consult your teacher and ask them what they think the interpretation should be. But my interpretation is that you cannot take leave on weekends because you don't work on weekends in the first place. However, I don't have a job, so maybe your teachers will explain that you can do that. And if you can do that, then the first answer will be the answer. But other than that, that is it for the EMAth paper 2. Definitely quite tricky in some parts. It was probably trickier than 2021 or 2019 papers. But nevertheless, I hope that those that took this paper, you did reasonably well. All the best for your future endeavors, and I think the next video I will try to make will be the A Math papers from this year, followed by the H2 Math papers, which will probably spill over to next year. Okay, I'll see you guys very soon. Take care.